Alright, so in this video I will be covering my YouTube vlogging setup and why I chose the equipment that I did. This is very important even on a business channel because it allows others to follow in my footsteps after me, and I hope to kind of shed a little bit of light on the equipment that I use, and I want to inspire as many people as possible to begin vlogging. With that, let's jump right in. Alright, so as you can see, I've got a mountain of stuff here, and there's actually a ton of stuff in the background that you can't see, like lights and like cameras and video equipment and computer and all of this kind of stuff. When I started my YouTube channel, I looked at what type of shots I wanted, and I kind of picked the equipment to fulfill the shots that I needed or that I wanted to portray for my YouTube channel. For studio shots, I chose the Canon T3i, which is actually recording right now as we speak. Could I have gotten a better camera like a 6D or something along those lines, a better DSLR? Well, absolutely. But this is what I could afford at the time, and it works excellently for my purposes. Some of the criteria that I had in selecting the T3i are I wanted a camera that could shoot HD footage. This was huge for me because in my episodes I wanted to have everything be relatively around 1080p. One other short criteria for the Canon T3i is I wanted to be able to put an external mic on it in the future. So right now I'm recording, as you can see, with this little external microphone right here, and then that goes to the camera. It works very well for recording the audio. Lastly, I really like the flip screen that it has. This allows you to see the screen from any angle that you choose, and also to play around with. So like right now I'm in front of the camera, I could be behind the camera, and then if I'm not using the screen I could flip it shut, and so it doesn't get scratched or damaged or anything like that. So that's really nice. Okay, for action shots, what I went ahead and did is I bought a GoPro Hero 8 Black, and this is a little carrying case it comes in, very nice. The biggest reason that I bought this camera in particular, not the 7 or the 6, or for example I have the 5 here, it's a little bit outdated but it's alright, is because it has Hypersmooth 2.0. And this is the single best feature that this camera has, believe me. Okay, so by using Hypersmooth 2.0, you do not need any kind of a gimbal. And I've played around with gimbals in the past. I actually briefly owned a GoPro Karma grip, and I was kind of frustrated by the fact of how big it actually was. When this came out, I was impressed by how small it was for the amount of stuff that you get along with it. Also, the mounts here on the bottom, I'm not sure if you can see that, are built right into the camera, so no need to have an external case like the 5 anymore. It's just right there on the camera. My second criteria for buying the Hero 8 Black is that I wanted a camera with the possibilities of, again, an external mic just in case I'm shooting in the field. And with the new Hero 8 Black, they're coming out with a GoPro Hero 8 Media mod and a display mod, so it can actually show you what is going on in front of the camera, as well as giving you a ultra high quality mic setup and shotgun mic off to the side, as well as all of your audio ports and your audio inputs. So that's really cool. So with the media mod, that will allow me to do a lot of outdoor shots or a lot of handheld shots, either in cars or what have you, and that will make that really, really cool looking. Okay, so I also bought the GoPro Hero Max. So it's got 2 lenses, one on each side, and this is kind of an interesting setup here because it's a 360 cam, and this means that it can do some really cool effects with turning otherwise boring video into some really cool video. So an additional feature that I really like about the GoPro Max is that it is very, very easy if you're shooting with an action camera to get the camera just a little bit off in the video. And then that can skew up the angle at which you have. So the nice thing about the 360 cam is you can get whatever angle you want anywhere around here in your field of view, because it's a 360 degree field of view. So if you accidentally get your angles off just a little bit, it's very easy to correct that in post-production. Okay, so for aerial video, I got the DJI Mavic Air, and the main reason that I got this one instead of the new Mavic Mini is because it has follow me mode, so I can put down the controller, whatever I need to do, and then it can follow me around, either if I'm in a vehicle or if I'm just walking or talking or whatever it is. It also shoots in ultra high definition 4K and slow motion in 1080p. I think it's at 120 frames a second, but what I'll go ahead and do is I'll just insert all the specs for that drone in particular right now.
A few moments later.
Okay, so my backdrop for me was most challenging. What I did is I went ahead and built this desk right here, as you can see. This is mostly just 2x8s and 2x6s that I went ahead and built in our barn. And then I put on some stain. I also got this chair that I'm sitting in at my local Staples. That was pretty straightforward. I went ahead and got really good lighting system on this because one of the most crucial things with the YouTube channel is getting good lighting. So I went ahead and bought 2 external lights. I've got one here, I've got one here, kind of to offset each other. Okay, so for those studio lights, let's jump really quickly into them. I went ahead and bought very nice, good quality lights. They're made by GVM over here. I made sure and got the ones that I could control the temperature, so I could dial in different temperatures on the fly, and that way I could get the exact white balance that I wanted. Okay, so for the mics, I either have bought or will buy the following. I'm going to buy the GoPro Hero 8 Media Mod, which will give me this cute little shotgun mic right on the side. That will kind of take care of all of the action camera needs. For in-studio shots, I bought these really cool little handheld or pocket held, whatever you want to do, mic packs. And these things are a little bit costly, but again, one of the most crucial things for a good YouTube channel is good audio. So I went ahead and got the nice ones in that, and what you can't see here is that I've got a nice little receiver unit. It came with 2 body packs. I have this little mic here, it kind of runs down behind me, and I have a little body pack that I just keep in my pocket all the time. It works very well. Okay, so kind of to sum up for all of the audio stuff, I bought 2 body packs for in-studio shots, and then I bought a GoPro Hero 8 Media Mod that goes on the outside of this for action shots or for other shots that are outside of the studio. Okay, so for my computer and editing software, I'm using my MacBook Pro, and a quick tip on that, when I bought my MacBook Pro, I made certain that I got the 16 gig of RAM. And that is very important because when you are editing videos or otherwise occupied on your computer, your RAM can really build up, especially if you're producing stuff or editing or whatever it may be. At some points, I do use my iPhone for quick shots, like a quick still shot if I need a quick picture or an audio recording. And as you'll quickly find out, I primarily use the Apple operating system. I have an Apple Watch, which I don't have on right now. But I also have the Mac computer and the iPhone and an iPad and stuff like that so that I can very quickly transfer footage or pictures or whatever it may be using AirDrop, and that is a huge feature that I really like. That's a definite plus for having an Apple operating system to use. In order to store all my footage, I'm using one of these little external hard drives. This one in particular is a 2 terabyte, but you can get whatever you want. It works very well. In the future though, I will be upgrading to an SSD system instead of a hard drive, where the hard drives are a little bit more prone to failure. The SSDs are much faster, and they also are very good at high-speed footage and transferring files back and forth very quickly. For computer apps, I have purchased the following over the years, and I've actually been doing filming for a couple of years. I've done some small shoots here and there, so I've kind of been building up my apps as I go along and as I need them. For video editing, I use only Final Cut Pro, and I could use something like Adobe Premiere or something along those lines, but the nice thing about Final Cut Pro is that it's only a one-time buy. So I've had it now for at least 5 years, and the nice thing about that is I have no ongoing costs. It's just a very brief one-time buy. The other reason that I really like Final Cut Pro is I've grown up with that and I'm very familiar with it, and so I know how to use it, which is nice for editing purposes. For any music or sounds, I use both GarageBand and Logic Pro X. I've had some problems with Logic Pro X just because I don't really know how to use that and I'm not as familiar with it, whereas the GarageBand is a lot more intuitive as far as knowing how it goes and how it all works. So at least for me, I use GarageBand more than Logic Pro X, but I do have both of them. For graphic design and anything having to do with logos or anything like that, I use both Motion 5 and I also have Adobe Illustrator for graphics editing. And I know that some of you may have Adobe Illustrator. One of the downsides of Adobe Illustrator is that it does cost monthly. So just plan that in if you're going to be using it for a YouTube channel. Sometimes you can either get it for 1 month and then cancel your subscription by getting all of your work done at one time or something along those lines. Very handy. Okay, so that kind of sums up everything that I've gotten for the YouTube channel itself. A question that you may have is it possible to get started with less? And the answer to that question is absolutely it is. But this is the setup that I chose to go with because I want to try and produce the best videos I possibly can for what I could afford at the time. So that is my setup, and I will have links to everything below here. As always, like this video if you do, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you in the next video.